The world is full of mysteries, from unexplained disappearances to phenomena that defies logic. In this video, we'll be taking a look at a variety of mysteries, some new and some old, that despite advances in science and knowledge, may never be fully solved. If you haven't already done so, hit those lights, sit back, and enjoy. Mystery surrounds 19th century vampire hunting kit. Vampires aren't real, or are they? In 2022, a bizarre box of paranormal paraphernalia was sold at a Derbyshire auction, reaching an unexpected £13,000. Inside the 19th century lockable wooden box, with two brass crucifixes on the lid, was a matching pair of pistols, a brass powder flask, holy water, a Gothic Bible, a wooden mallet, a wooden stake, brass candlesticks, rosary beads, and more crucifixes. Everything you'd need to kill a vampire. Also included in the box was Metropolitan Police paperwork apparently registering an alien enemy in 1915 during World War I. The box was once owned by British peer Lord Hailey, however it's unknown if he ever used the kit. But the fact that a respected man like Lord Hailey had such precise vampire slaying equipment meant he must have taken the threat seriously. The question is, did he know something that we do not? Flight turns back after passengers receive plane crash photos. When you board a plane and wait for takeoff, even the most seasoned of flyers get a bit jittery. So imagine the panic after passengers on an Israel flight to Turkey suddenly simultaneously received eerie photos to their phones via airdrop that showed the horror of past plane crashes. Amongst the many images sent was one that showed the Turkish airline plane that crashed in Amsterdam in 2009, and the wreckage of the Asiana Airlines Flight 214 that crashed in San Francisco in 2013. After the pilot was notified, all 166 passengers were escorted off the plane and taken to the airport, and security checks were carried out. But to date, no one knows who sent the images or why. But for the passengers on that plane, it must have felt like a scene from the movie Final Destination. Mystery object falls from the sky during lightning storm. In May 2022, Texas was hit by thunder and lightning storms. The spectacular night sky show was captured by a meat-packing plant worker. At first it just shows the normal bright flashes and claps of a storm, when suddenly a bright object can be seen shooting down to the ground from above. Take a look. After posting the footage to social media, dozens speculated about what the mysterious object might be. There were theories it might have been rarely seen ball lighting, whilst others thought something more extraterrestrial was responsible. What are your thoughts? Mystery surrounds the case of a man who was hit by a ghost gunshot. It is not often you walk innocently along a street with your children and get shot. Well, that is exactly what happened to a 38-year-old Swedish man. The mysterious incident happened as the man was in the town of Fraudenfeld when he suddenly felt an intense, sharp pain in his lower back. He went to the emergency room and was shocked to be told that he had been shot and the bullet was lodged inside of him. Fortunately, his injuries were not severe and doctors were able to remove the bullet and treat the wound. However, nobody could explain exactly where the ghost shot had come from. All police managed to figure out was that the gun was low caliber, or it would have done a lot more damage. A huge investigation was launched, but to date, no one has a clue who fired the shot or where the bullet came from. The mystery fire in Australia that's been burning for over 6,000 years. In a national park 4 hours north of Sydney, Australia, there is a fire that has been burning for at least 6,000 years. Known as Burning Mountain, the mysterious underground blaze is the oldest known fire on the planet. The coal seam fire is located under Mount Wingan and is one of the thousands burning at any one time around the world. However, Burning Mountain is by far the oldest. Once ignited, these subterranean fires are almost impossible to put out and slowly travel unseen through the coal seam, 30 meters beneath Earth's surface. No one knows the actual size of the fire, but it's estimated to be a ball of around 5 to 10 meters in diameter, reaching temperatures of 1000 degrees Celsius. The only evidence of its existence is some smoke, remnants of white ash, a slight smell of sulfuric, and ground that's warm to the touch. Unlike most coal seam fires, Burning Mountain is not caused by human interference, such as coal mining. In fact, no one knows when or how it first ignited, but its existence has been documented since 1828, when a local farmhand thought he had discovered a volcano. The site of the fire in New South Wales is considered sacred by indigenous Wainarua people, and legend tells of a widow whose tears ignited the fire, or the touch of a warrior captured by the evil one under the mountain. There is of course a more scientific explanation. Ignition happens when a coal seam is close enough to the surface to be exposed to oxygen. This, combined with a very hot sun, heats the coal enough for it to ignite. However, remarkably, Burning Mountain is still relatively unstudied and unknown outside of Australia, and to date no one knows how long this fire has been burning, with some believing it could be hundreds of thousands of years, not the at least 6,000 estimated, and without human intervention it could carry on burning indefinitely. The woman who hasn't slept for 40 years. We all get a bit of insomnia now and then, which usually resolves itself with either medical intervention or lifestyle changes. But imagine not being able to sleep for over 40 years. While that is the astonishing claim made by a Chinese woman whose case has left doctors baffled. In 2021, 45-year-old Li Hanying from the Henan province in eastern China claimed that the last time she slept was when she was 5 years old. Initially, friends and family didn't believe her and tried to stay awake with her all night to test her claim. But whilst they wilted and dropped off, Li remained wide awake. Li's husband also claimed that he has never seen his wife sleeping, and that she did all the household chores in the middle of the night. He was so concerned, he brought her some sleeping pills, but the medicine didn't work. When Li approached doctors for help, they could not provide a medical explanation. However, a specialist sleep center in Beijing thinks they may have solved the mystery. It seems Li does sleep, but not as we think of it. She is actually sometimes asleep during conversations with people, and she was observed talking to her husband and continuing the conversation even though she was technically asleep, according to doctors. If that wasn't strange enough, a test with a brainwave monitor showed that Li's eyes were never closed for more than 10 minutes a day. The bizarre, unexplained phenomena is similar to how the body of sleepwalkers is active while the brain is asleep. So Li's body is fully functional while she is technically sleeping. Pretty incredible. Russian genius child who claims to be the reincarnation of a Martian. In 2021, it emerged that a Russian child genius named Boriska claimed to be a Martian and was reborn on Earth to begin a new life cycle. The boy first started reciting detailed astronomical knowledge back in 2017 when he was 11 years old. He said that his race disappeared from Mars due to a nuclear war that took place 1,000 years ago, and he believes the same thing will happen to Earth in the near future, and to prevent human extinction, he was sent to Earth to warn its citizens and save it from the same fate that besieged his people. Boriska describes in detail the exact events from the time when he was still a Martian pilot, and two factions of the Red Planet started the apocalyptic nuclear war. According to him, a few of his species survived the extinction, and they are in the process of reconstructing the architecture of the planet, as well as building new kinds of advanced weapons for future defense. He also explained that Martians only age for 35 years, and from then on maintain their physical features until they die. There is no doubt Boriska is different. He's a genius child who could hold his head up without support at 2 weeks old. He started speaking at just a few months, and by the time he was 18 months he could read, draw and paint. When he started nursery, teachers were supposedly dumbfounded by his incredible writing language and memory skills. However, whether he is a Martian sent to save us is up for debate. the remarkable case of the human hibernator. In October 2006, 35-year-old Mitsutaka Uchikoshi from Japan went missing after going with friends to climb Mount Roko in western Japan. Whilst becoming detached from his friends, it is believed he tripped, but no one knows for sure because Mitsutaka fell unconscious and wasn't discovered until 24 days later when hikers stumbled across what they thought was his lifeless body. However, despite having almost no pulse, blood loss, shut down organs and a body temperature of 22 degrees centigrade, Mitsutaka was alive and went on to make a full recovery. Doctors believe he survived the cold weather without food or water after falling into a state of hibernation. When he was found, his metabolism was almost at a standstill, and he was in a hypothermic state, meaning his brain functions were protected without being damaged. Mitsutaka's case was quoted by experts as being revolutionary, and that to go that long without fluids was psychologically impossible, and the medical community still do not really know how he survived, but he did. Mystery of the girl buried with a bird in her mouth. In 1967, archaeologist Waldemar Chmielewski discovered a skeleton in Tunnel Walki Cave in southern Poland. Until 2021, the remains were kept in a box at the University of Warsaw. However, when Dr. Małgorzata Kot came across the bones whilst rummaging through artifacts, he decided to take a closer look at them. With advancements in science and radiocarbon dating, it was established that the young girl died around 300 years ago and was buried with the head of at least one bird in her mouth. If this wasn't unusual enough, the fact that she was found in a cave was also perplexing, as cave burials stopped during the Middle Ages. Researchers soon realized the skeleton was an exceptional find, and no other examples were known from this time in Europe. After analyzing the bones, researchers found the girl had died between 10 and 12 years of age. Her bones showed signs of arrested growth, possibly due to metabolic disease, but they didn't find any evidence of trauma or any other clues about her cause of death. A series of scientific tests and examination of historical records indicated that the girl was likely from an area north of Poland, possibly around modern-day Finland or Karelia. Records from the 19th century showed that people in Karelia believed that someone who died in a forest had to be buried in a forest rather than in a cemetery. So that may explain why she was buried in a cave. However, why she had the head of at least one bird believed to be a finch in her mouth is unknown, and the unique child burial from Tunnel Wilkie Cave still cannot be fully explained. Havana Syndrome. Havana Syndrome is a mystery illness that over the past 6 years has struck down an alarming number of American diplomats, troops, and intelligence officers. The symptoms vary, but are sometimes severe and range from headaches to ringing in the ears, along with loss of memory, hearing, and balance. In some cases, victims have suffered long-term damage, leaving them unable to work. To date, around 200 American personnel have fallen ill with the syndrome, with the first incident occurring in 2016 in Havana, Cuba, when 21 employees of the US Embassy experienced the mystery symptoms, causing some to retire early due to the sickness that became known as the Havana Syndrome. Since the first outbreak, the syndrome started popping up in other places like China and Russia. In the fall of 2020, several US troops in Syria developed mysterious flu-like symptoms similar to those of Havana Syndrome. There have also been suspected episodes on US soil. In 2019, a White House staffer reported being stricken with the Havana, and in November 2020, defense officials told members of Congress that a National Security Council official near DC's Ellipse Park had fallen victim to the syndrome. Perhaps most disturbing are reports that the CIA and the Pentagon do not believe this is a naturally occurring illness, but rather a deliberate act of aggression, and a study commissioned by the State Department said the most likely source is a pulse of radio frequency energy directed at US targets. So what's going on, and how is energy being used to attack US personnel? Who's attacking them and why? To date, investigations are ongoing, but no one knows exactly what is happening or who is responsible, although Cuba has vehemently denied being responsible. So that's it for this video. We hope you enjoy these 10 unexplained mysteries. If you'd like us to go more in depth on any one of these 10 topics, let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.